Hey coach, if you're still underpaid, if you're still doing freebies, or if you're still keeping yourself invisible to make other people feel comfortable, then this message really is for you. I'm going to take my time to say it in a way that I hope really hits home. If you're a person, and let's call out mostly this is women, but of course it can be men too, okay? If you're a person who is always people pleasing, right? You want to fit in, so you are almost like a chameleon, so you can fit in with a group. Or if you're abandoning yourself because, you don't want to speak up in case you trigger someone else. Or maybe you keep yourself invisible so that other people don't feel uncomfortable. Like, what if you charging, being successful as a coach, earning decent money is going to isolate you from the people that, you really care about, and you're worried what this might mean. If you're somebody who fawns or abandons yourself in normal life, please understand there is not going to be some kind of magical thing that happens when you become a coach, because you'll bring that into your business too. So if you're a people pleaser, you're going to continue people pleasing in your business. If you're somebody who fawns or gives in, or wants to stay invisible to keep other people comfortable, or self-abandons, what that looks like in your coaching business is you won't charge. You won't charge fairly, you'll undercharge, you'll overdeliver, you'll burn yourself out. Okay, so let's talk about burnout. What is burnout? Burnout is you doing everything for everyone else that they want, but not what it is that you need for yourself in your life. And if you start doing that in your business, you're going to find that you're not going to enjoy it. And there are a lot of coaches that have businesses like this. They get burnt out from sometimes the action, sometimes delivering too much, sometimes not charging, sometimes just wanting to work with people so much that they'll just give them things for free. And then there's some resentment as well. So if you have a pattern of burning out in your regular life, if you have a pattern of having other people talk about you in a way and you're not sort of standing up for yourself, you're not setting healthy boundaries. Okay, if you're self-abandoning, if you're, trying to keep yourself small so others feel good, then this is going to be coming into your business. I started to notice this a while back because I had to start setting boundaries for myself too. I noticed that sometimes coaches who would book in a call with me wanted to just fight for their limitations. I'm so broke, I can't because I don't have any money because I can't do this because I've tried this before and, right? So they would then come on the call and tell me all the reasons they couldn't succeed as a coach. And I would sit there and I would say, this is really interesting, right? Because, of course, if you have the structure and you have the blueprint, you're able to have a business that is extracted from your genius. Of course, this is your best chance at succeeding. But I've realized that there was a divide between coaches who were getting paid and coaches who were constantly, blaming everything else for not having success in their business and things they can't. So here was a learning that I had to have for myself. I no longer wanted to do calls with people who would just jump on a call and tell me all the reasons they didn't have money or they were broke. I no longer wanted to do any calls with people that no longer believed, yeah, in their own value, in their own worth. The truth is, if AI can do your job as a coach, you don't have a job anymore. It's as simple as that. If you have real, unique value and you know you can help people, that's who I can help to bring value into the world, to set up your package, your offer in a way that you can get paid consistently. I had to set some different boundaries for myself. One was realizing the things that lifted me up. The things that lift me up are creating offers, creating business blueprints, helping my clients hit some really big targets when it came to their business. Okay. I understood, had the same patterns. I really wanted every single coach of mine to get paying clients. I would almost kill myself working so hard to ensure their offers were great and spending so many hours with them, chasing them up on Messenger. Hey, haven't seen you on a call last week. Is everything okay? And then I would get people not showing up for calls. And they would message me their answers, and I was burning out. So I needed that time with my daughter, but I wasn't getting the time with my daughter because I was spending time coaching people outside of the structure. And I realized no matter how much I wished for my clients to get paying clients, how much I wished that their coaching offer was perfect and, I could build everything immaculately for them, and the business blueprint does 90% of the lifting for you. Unfortunately, if the coach wasn't willing to show up, back themselves, turn up to the calls, do the work, and more importantly, if they had these self-abandonment issues in their real life, if they had these people-pleasing patterns, that it was coming into their coaching. And I started to realize that actually maybe I need to lead by example. So I started putting some boundaries in place in my business, okay? First one was ensuring that 80% of the questions that were repeat kind of low-level admin questions that I used to spend, hours a day just answering, and it was the same old stuff. And these were the things that meant that I couldn't actually eat dinner with my daughter, cook a healthy meal and eat dinner with my daughter. So I started to do things a bit differently. I said, okay, I'm going to put a standard email out every week, which covers 80% of the questions that my clients ask. And that immediately reduced the amount of messages I had to respond to. The second thing was that I trained my team to answer those questions. And I also hired a community manager who started to answer some of these questions so that I could focus on my genius area. And I realized that some coaches had unrealistic expectations, because if they were in a relationship or a dynamic or in life, putting themselves very last, or if they were, people pleasing and they would abandon themselves to fit in, and they kind of had no idea who they were anymore, it was an unrealistic mismatch for them to then come in and build a coaching business that was going to pay them well. Okay, so we had to do some work on the base level. And I made a decision. The decision was, if somebody was going to come on a call and tell me that they were broke, I would just agree with them and end the call. Why? Because if you're going to jump on a call and spend that time with me to fight for your limitations and tell me why you can't succeed, and boy, I've heard them all. I've heard, I work 100 hours a day. I have a special needs child. I have, all kinds of reasons. Oh, my situation is different because I've had this trauma and I've had this and I've had this, and I'm in a relationship that's not working out for me. I can't do it because, instead of spending hours and hours on calls like that, I just decided not to do them anymore. My program is not for you if you are still fighting for your limitations, if you are still fighting for, the story that you are stuck, that you are broke, that you do not have money. If that's your narrative, don't come on a call with me. I can help you when you're ready to make money. And often the people that come on a call with me, they're sick of their own shit. And they're also ready to back themselves. Maybe they spent their entire life putting themselves last, and now is finally their time. And I even hear this. This is my time. I don't want to wait till it's too late. I don't want to die with regrets. This is a dream of mine, and I want to get paid for coaching. And I've spoken to so many different types of coaches. I've spoken to coaches who feel busy because they're doing free session after free session or crewing other people's events and feeling busy that they're kind of contributing, but they haven't been making regular money. And when I speak to them, they get very defensive of their position. Yeah, this is just, I don't believe in this. I don't want to, I don't want to have my stuff on social media. There's if there's an excuse, I don't look physically right, I don't have the right energy, I have illnesses, there's, mental reasons, oh, I'm feeling burnt out, I've had this before, I've tried this. There's, social reasons, my friends don't understand, my family think that I'm doing, something that doesn't pay. They think that this is just a joke. I'm being ridiculed. There's all kinds of reasons that people have fears and they don't want to back themselves, right? When I was listening to this narrative, I thought, that's not my person. That's not my client. That's a coach that wants to get paid. That is a person who wants to stay stuck in that narrative, who has had this going on for so long. And guess what? It's not just 1 year, sometimes not even 10 years. Sometimes it's their entire lifetime. And it got me to thinking. I was listening to some sermons from a rabbi. I'm not Jewish myself, but it was just really beautiful to hear that the Jewish knowledge that they impart on their children is not one of limitation. In fact, it's very much of empowerment. This is how you can manage your wealth. This is how you can manage your money. This is how you can have respect for yourself and raise your standards. And unbeknownst to me, these are the journeys that I've been on. I didn't know about this beautiful rabbi before, but it took me a very long time because I grew up in a society, in a community which taught me that wanting too much money was a bad thing, or, you know, putting yourself first was selfish and all kinds of things. So I started implementing these standards, and first thing I would ask my coaches is, do you have money blocks? Do you know you're blocking money that's coming to you? And I reckon 90% of people were just like, yeah, I think I'm blocking money coming to me. So if you are, guys, I want you to listen to me. If you're blocking money, if you're people pleasing, if you have sales, like if you have anxiety around selling, it's not a match for you to have a successful coaching business. So you do need some help to get coached through that so you can be in an environment where you feel safe to ask for the sale. Now, there's so many different ways of looking at this, but for me, I used to take every call. And there were times that, 30 minutes would go by and I would be, talking to somebody who told me their whole life and why their life was so terrible and why they couldn't have anything good ever happen, and then why they've never charged. And when I asked them, well, how is it possible you've never charged for your coaching? They would have a basket of 20 excuses. And I thought to myself, I'd leave that call knowing that that person could succeed if they just believed in themselves, but they hadn't made the decision. Now, I was willing and happy to help coaches who wanted to have the transformation, but didn't have the belief. But when I realized if they hadn't made a decision, I couldn't help them, I started to make a different choice for myself. And that choice was not to get onto a call with anyone who hadn't decided yet that they were ready to see their worth, see their value, and get paid. And there were a lot of angry people because I would just say, look, I don't think that we are a match. I'm not going to just sit here and give you free coaching for an hour. This is not the purpose of this call. This call is here for you to make a decision that you're ready to get paid, and then I'm going to show you how. Now, I do understand because I went through this, right? I went through the people pleasing. I went through the fawning. I went through, self-abandonment. I had loose boundaries. So I had to set some boundaries in place, which is honestly, if you're a fence sitter, if you're a tire kicker, don't book in a call with me. But if you're somebody that's really ready to put your own bullshit behind you and your stories that have kept you stuck for your entire life, kept you accepting scraps and crumbs. And then you look at other coaches and you go, how are they making those sales? How do they sell their coaching package for $1,000, $10,000? $100,000, and I can't even sell one session. If that's you, then you really want to come along and watch the fast track to offers that sell. This is a free training that I'm running next week, and it's specifically going to also address your mindset, your money blocks, the stories that have kept you stuck. Had to stop a second to have a cough and a glass of water. But the transformation that happened within myself and in my business was really different. I finally had time for my daughter, time for my health, time for my business, and I got the joy back in my business. I was no longer working with those people that were sitting on the fence, that were kind of just wanted to be successful but weren't willing to do the things and show up. And I started to get more results in my business when I started to make a lot of money, like over $500,000 in 100 days or $300,000 in 2 weeks, and other really big results. It's because I started choosing who I was going to work with. And if you are done fighting for your limitations, for your stories, come along, come along to Fast Track to Offers that Sell. It's not for you if you're just there to be curious and learn something else and then just not put it into action. That's not for you. Just don't come. Save yourself the time. Yeah. It's only for you if you've made a decision that this has to work now, that you don't want to die with regrets, that you have played so small for so long and keeping yourself invisible hasn't helped anyone. You know, you can never be so sick as to make the sick well. You can never be so poor as to make the poor rich. You can never be so, whatever, invisible as to make the invisible people be seen. Why would you continue playing this game to keep other people comfortable or use it as an excuse? If you are ready, if you really need to now, back yourself. You want to live a meaningful life and you want to get paid for doing what you love, your genius. Come along to next week's training. It's Fast Track to Offers that Sell. I'm going to drop the link in the chat here and you're really welcome to come along. This could be the game changer for you.